Hello, my name is David Washington. To me, self-care means practicing rest, and sleep does not equal rest, which is something I learned at the age of 59. One of the things that I do to practice self-care is listening to vinyl records, reading the covers, looking at the artwork, and looking at the artists who played on the album, as well as taking in all the different sounds. To me, I find rest in that. The other thing I like to do is go to Rehoboth Beach and walk on the boardwalk and look at the seagulls. One of the movies that I've watched time and time again is Way of the Peaceful Warrior, which is a video that talks about being present and being aware of all the many things that are going on in any environment, whether it's at the beach, in the mountain, or sitting at my desk and taking in all the energy that is surrounding me. That is some of the ways that I practice self-care. Thanks, and have a great new year.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Eastern Shore Talk, your podcast for all things self-care movies. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. We are on episode 44. I'm Jay Watson.
And I'm Cathy Castle.
And we're actually coming to you a day ahead of schedule. This is what adults do on a snow day. We record podcasts instead of doing snow angels and playing football in the snow. We record podcasts. So today, since this is our first official episode of 2025, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. Are they good? Are they bad? We're going to kind of dive into the whole topic of self-care. Well, of course, self-care, but New Year's resolutions as it pertains to self-care.
Right.
But first, what we want to do is do our regular Say, I'm a day ahead and I'm out of whack. My anxiety has got me all out of whack. So we're going to do our regular check-in. So what's going on with the Castle?
The snow show. So everybody's home. We had a quiet weekend after the big holiday rush, right? And our Ravens won. I don't know about your Commanders. Did they win?
Also, yep.
Okay. So, people are geared up. Our crew, our purple crew is geared up for next Saturday. But besides that, because, I have one in school, one's a senior of my kids, two are school teachers, and one's a banker. So the banker child, Brennan, I could tell he was not happy with the rest of the household because he knew that he'd probably have to go into work and everybody was already happy.
Right.
And celebrating. So he didn't actually have to go in today. So they're all outside playing like they did ever since they've been, 5 years old. Yeah. But I go out with the camera to videotape and it looks like carnage. They're running into each other. Bodies are laying all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, are you hurt? Are you okay? I mean, it was awful. I had to stop filming. And then they must have got tired of me and they went down to our park.
Yeah.
So I can't see what they're really doing.
Yeah, probably a bigger group of people down there because it's just a bigger open space down there to do whatever.
Well, they think, snow gives an excuse for tackle football to be a reality. Because I have said all their life, don't tackle. Yeah. So
it's interesting that two of yours are teachers, so they kind of come at it from a snow day means something to them as adults because,
Yes, they're like, we got 4 built in. We're happy. And then, Dylan's happy because he's a senior. He has put on as many snow days as you want. It won't affect me.
Yep.
So I do the usuals. I have hot chocolate waiting for them. I've made them lunch,
You're the snow mom.
I'm the snow mom. Yeah, I have the best hot chocolate. I'm going to tell you what, it is good. Homemade whipped cream.
Do you do any kind of chili or anything?
I got chili that I made 2 days ago because it's always better if it sits. Mm-hmm. I made a meatball orzo soup. I got cheesesteaks waiting for him. This is the house to be.
Mm. So I learned several years back when we had, I don't know if you remember, it maybe 10 or 12 years ago, the Valentine's Day blizzard when it was 2 feet, and then 3 or 4 days later we got another foot. You remember that? It was maybe 10 or 12 years ago. It was the last really, really big snow we had.
Maybe vaguely.
Well, I remember back then I literally set my alarm every 2 hours and went out because I knew we were getting a foot and a
Shoveling.
half. So I went out every 2 hours and shoveled like an inch or two, and it was cake. Well, this morning I was last night I was debating because they said, well, it's gonna start around 1 o'clock in Easton. So I'm like, should I just wait up and shovel then and then shovel? I was like, nah, I'll just go to sleep. It can't be too much by the time I get up. So I woke up and went out at 7 o'clock. There was probably 6 or 7 inches.
I
I
was
was like,
going to say,
oh,
holy 6 inches.
yeah.
Hello.
I was like, man. And 6 or 7 inches for here is a huge snowfall. And we get 2 or 3 inches. That's a big deal here.
I'd say
But six
we
or
ended
seven
up,
is
what?
crazy.
What do you think? I think we ended up with at least 10.
Yeah, I was going to say between 10 and 12 because I went out and
Yeah.
did at 7 o'clock. I shoveled 6 or 7. And then a couple hours later, I went out and did another inch or two. And then a couple hours after that, I did another inch or two. So yeah, it's probably in that 10 to 12. Yeah,
You
which
know,
is it's gigantic for here. Yeah,
what's funny is last night I got a call from our friends in Miami, and they're like, "Are you guys okay?" Because
yeah,
usually it's me calling them because hurricanes are getting ready to hit, and I was like,
yeah,
"Are you guys okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're good." And they're like, "What are you gonna do?" It's funny. It's funny to hear them. That must be how they feel when I call and say,
yeah.
"You good?"
But I haven't actually ventured out. And my car is unburied. It's shoveled out, but I haven't had a chance to. Well, I haven't had a need to go anywhere, so I haven't. So I don't know.
Now you're in town. Do you see
I'm
any? Is there traffic moving
Yeah,
about?
the traffic on Aurora streets. I've had the fire trucks and the ambulances have been going by.
Because that's like a snow
Aurora
emergency.
Street's fine, but the thing is, it's not gonna get above freezing for the next several days. So
Yeah.
whatever they do is going to freeze overnight, and
Now
the
my
only
neighborhood usually is plowed. It's not right now. So it looks like the wild wild west. But well,
now
was it getting?
our landlord did send some guys over right around lunchtime, and they shoveled the sidewalks
Oh,
around our
nice.
building and did all that kind of stuff. So um, yeah, so
My dad showed up with a snowblower. Dad
oh
is like
yeah.
a kid. He has to get out, and I bought him this vest for Christmas that heats up. It's got different, like he pushes a button,
And
different
this is
stuff.
the perfect snowblower snow because it's so cold, it's light and fluffy.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's enough, it's thick enough that it's you feel like you're doing something because I mean we've gotten close to a foot, which is a lot for around here. Um, so yeah,
I
it'll be
did
interesting.
decide to feed the birds. That's been an interesting experiment today. So they're fighting. I mean, I'm seeing all out nature aggression. They're
Yeah,
fighting with each other, and the blackbirds are like, whoa, on top of everything. And then who's trying to beat the blackbirds is the dove. You wouldn't think the dove
yeah.
seems like a quiet behind the scenes guy. He's at them.
I found when I knew the snow was coming, I went and did some prep work, bought a snow shovel and bought some. I
Yeah,
was gonna well normally I would buy the canister of the rock salt to spread on the steps or whatever. But apparently there's this stuff, and I don't know what the chemical makeup of it is, but it like melts snow way better and way faster, and it did. I shoveled my steps off, but it had you get like that. By the time I was done doing my car, there was like a little dusting. Well, I took it, shook it on there, and man, it went away almost immediately, and
really.
it kept the snow off for a while. So that way, when I went back out a couple hours later, it was covered again, but it wasn't fully covered like everything else. And I don't know what it's made of, or don't remember the brand. It just had this big
Mhm.
sign at Lowe's that said, you know, better than better than rock salt or whatever. So I bought it and tried, and it works. It works so good.
Because the other stuff didn't it used to eat away at the concrete?
Yeah, it's not the best, or if it just like when they do the roads, it's not good for your car, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is not salt at all. It's a different chemical
Yes.
composition.
Yeah.
But
Is it maybe like what they put on the roads that make lines?
no, that's brine. This is not
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
liquid. They
Okay.
pre-treat the roads here with brine, and it keeps the roads from freezing over. It doesn't prevent them, but it just keeps them keep it. slows the snow accumulating on the roads. It slows it down. Yeah, they had done that on the main roads a couple of days ago in preparation. Um,
Well, I don't know if this means that what's March going to look like? Is March going to be like 60, 70?
it's not. It's not. We do get snow at the beginning of March. Nothing big, but
But
we
I mean,
might get.
you know, I feel like we're a month ahead. Don't you with snow anyway for
Well,
our
it's normally like middle to late January, and like I said, that one was because I remember it because it was right around Valentine's Day, so that was middle of
area?
February.
I always feel like February like 8th or 9th is like the big kahuna of snow. That's my theory.
Yeah,
But
because it doesn't
this
see
is a little early.
around here. It only on average it doesn't. It only gets freezing or below typically at night because I think the right now like the average high is like 42 or something. So
Yeah,
normally it doesn't. It's not cold enough during the day. Well, now it is. It's
yeah,
the
this
high
week.
today's only 30, so it's going to be 30 during the day and 15 at night for the next several days. So this snow's not going anywhere. It's going to pile up in the parking lots and all and just stay there for a month.
And then
But
it'll get brown and we'll be like, ew, it's not pretty anymore.
you know, 2 weeks from now we could have 3 or 4 days of 60. That's not uncommon for here
I
either.
know, right?
So and
And
then
then that stuff will melt everywhere and be disgusting.
it'll be muddy. Everything will be sloshy and ugly and yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're so ungrateful.
yeah, I love how it looks. It looks
Right.
great.
When it's
If there
coming down and you're home, it's beautiful, and then it's not.
if there was just a way for it to snow and not ever stick to the roads and parking lots and any hard surface, it just
Yeah,
was on the grass and the nature part of things, that'd be perfect.
I
But
agree.
nobody's invented. I mean,
Yeah.
they do because there are actually people that there are some places that run steam lines under the roads so that the snow
Mhm.
it keeps the road warm enough so that the snow never sticks to it, like in certain northern towns and stuff.
I
I
didn't know
know
that.
where the Green Bay Packers play football, they have steam lines under the field so the field doesn't freeze.
Really?
Yep.
Hmm. I learned something
Because
today.
it's called the frozen tundra. Green Bay's field was called the frozen tundra. Well, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, they took up the grass and put steam lines underneath. So that way, when it gets cold, they run the steam under there and it keeps the ground warm enough so the snow doesn't stick to it.
I
Or
learned
it
something.
doesn't stick much to it. And it just keeps it warmer.
Interesting. I might have
So,
to look that up.
so yeah, so, you know, we're dealing with a snow day here. If you guys are listening from outside of Maryland or the mid Atlantic area, yeah, this is a snow day for us. So we're going to pop on here and talk a little about New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about this because I harken back to my days as a personal trainer. And
Mm-hmm.
this time of year,
Mm-hmm.
I had like a love hate relationship with this time of year. I
For
was
the
always
gym
very,
people.
I was always very busy. I had more clients than I could ever handle at the time. But as far as being a gym goer, the gym gets packed for like a month, 6 weeks, like from now until all of January. Sometimes a few will kind of hold on until February. Gyms are packed, and I shake the whole idea of New Year's resolutions. I scratch my head. Here's my thoughts on it, Cathy. I, I I think there are both. It's both good and bad. I know in our in my flyer that I put out as the topic I put New Year's resolutions, good thing or bad thing, and I think it's both. But here's my thing. I think it's wonderful when someone looks at a certain aspect of life and says, "Hey, I really need to improve
Yeah.
on whatever it is." That's great. Here's where my problem lies. And you and I talked a little bit before we started recording.
Right.
And the information that I looked at said 92% of New Year's resolutions are not followed through on. So almost all people fail at the New Year's resolutions. And
Right.
I break it down like this: there's two parts to it. There's the New Year's part, and then there's the resolutions part. And I think what happens is they do it more for the New Year's part than they do it for the resolution part.
Because it's a ritual, right? It's
And
a
and
it's
everybody else is doing it. In other words, they're more concerned about the calendar changing part of it than they are about the I'm going to improve this part of my life, part of it.
No, it is because
They're
you're supposed
right.
to do it. It's an American ritual.
Yeah,
What's your
and that's
New Year's
again,
resolution?
why in the world are we following the crowd when 92% of the time it's failing?
Yeah,
Why do
yeah.
we do that? And my other thing is, okay, great. You want to improve something? Fantastic. Why aren't we doing it in June? Why aren't we doing it in September? Why do we say, okay, well, I know why, but it just rhetorically, why do we wait until the calendar changes to say we don't care any more or less about ourselves in December than we do in June? So why are we so wrapped up in I need to make a resolution because my social circle is making it, or my family, there are people that I know, my coworkers are all making New Year's resolutions. That's the thing to do. I'm going to do it. You're doing it for the wrong reason. You're doing it to follow other people, and you're doing it because the calendar is changing, and you're not doing it for the resolution part of the New Year's resolution. Why are
So
we doing it?
I mean,
Why are we
I
doing it in the middle of the year?
I think though that um I'm I, I'm not a New Year's resolution person. I'll just say that.
Me neither.
Um I have tried and I always fail. But I'm not a New Year's resolution person. But I'm also, and therefore, everybody can do what they want to do. It's their life. I'm not saying people shouldn't have goals because they absolutely should. But I do think we do it because
The social
it's
norm.
a rite of passage. It's social, right? But I think that why we fail is, and I think that's hard for people because when you do fail, then you feel bad about yourself, right? So, the goals may be too huge. Like if I say, and I have Jay, I've been one of those gym joiners in January, and I've already cut out by the first week of February. I'm one of those annoying people, so I just don't do it anymore. But I think that our goals, I think people make them too large. That they aren't like, am I doing it just to do it because I think I should? Like, am I gonna say I'm not a nail biter, but I know people that are like, oh, I'm gonna
Oh,
stop
I am
biting
a
my
big nail
nails,
biter. Yeah.
and then they don't, But why do they do it? Because they think they should. I mean, I do think holidays are so hectic, and if you think about, if you even wow, let's back it up even further. If a lot of people vacation, just say a lot of people vacation in July, August. I don't know. I don't know when people vacation. But just say they summer vacation then, and then kids go back to school. And then you go into Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and boom, here we are with a quiet month. And for us in the area we live in, it's also weather driven where we're more inside and things like that. So I think that it's natural that okay, now it's time to look at myself. It's a good start. It's fresh. It's new. It's January. It's month number 1. What do we got to do? But I think so. I would say the key is instead of saying in 2025 I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I think the key is more setting up habits that become routine. So yeah, you are looking at them again in March and July and September and things that are more manageable. So we feel like we have small wins. That's what I would say.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do think there is value to be had in the whole. Um, I guess, like for example, if you're someone who, as part of your self care, you do a lot of walking, and let's just say in 2024 you did 1 million steps, which is actually not very many for the whole year if you break it down. Um, so and then you say, okay, I want to do better. I want to do better with my steps, and I want to break that record and do more than 1 million steps in 2025. But the thing is, you're it's a regular thing. You're still thinking about, okay, I need to get all my steps in every month of the year to break that. So you can kind of use it as a motivational tool to say, I'm going to do more of this good thing, or I'm going to add this of this thing in 2025 versus 2024 as a goal set, not because it's this drastic change that you've not been doing. You want to improve upon X, Y, or Z. I just think we need to take the New Year's out of New Year's resolution and just make a resolution because you
Well,
determine whatever time of year it is that you need to do better in
yeah,
whatever part. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to say it. So, I mean, and that gives people hope. Like, if somebody's just like, man, I'm tired, and I need January to get myself straight, and I'm not going to start making some habit changes until February, or maybe I'm not until March. I think that's fine. You make them when you can. I think it's just, what are they? And I mean, I have a personal way that I deal with it. Um, for example, I think it's really important for people to find some kind of a documentation system, whether you call it journaling, documenting, a planner, whatever it is. Because I also believe that if you are old fashioned putting the pen to paper, something has a chance of sticking more, and and you're going to think more. If you
Yeah.
can, you're going to do more deep work if you're sitting, with some kind of planner, and that you're revisiting the planner. So, like, for me, the planner that I have, besides, it's a whole thing. The system I have, it's called the Full Focus Planner. It's a lot, and a lot of people can't handle it, that I've tried to share that planner with. But I really like it. And but one thing I do like about this planner is it's a 3-month planner. So I've used it for a full year. Honestly, I've used 4 of them. I'm getting ready to go to my 5th book, but there is room for 10 goals every year, and I fill it out. I do 10 goals. So instead of saying, oh, here's, a New Year's resolution, for me, I'm finding different areas of my life that I want to make some change in, or some adjustments. And it could be financial. It could be decluttering my house. I always put a new craft or hobby in there. It could be learning something, family oriented, friend oriented, whatever pieces of my life that I want to address. And then I break it down into more simple things, and that works for me. And then I revisit it. It's just not like one and done. That's for the whole year. I might say, you know what, I'm not doing that. I changed my mind. Or, oh, I did part of that goal. I did find something, Jay, that I liked. That I wanted to share. And, I like this guy, James Clear. I think I've mentioned him
Uh-huh.
before. He wrote the book Atomic Habits, which is a good book. And he has a website, James Clear, and you spell it Klear, his last name, jamesclear.com. He has a newsletter that comes out weekly called 321. There's an app. I haven't used his app. He's got lots of articles on organizing and habits and good things. But he suggests something called, and I'm looking at an article or one of his emails. One way to insert a new habit into your life is with an implementation intention, which is a mouthful, right? So he says, scientists have found that if you make an implementation intention, you're more likely to follow through with your plans and stick to your habits. This is true whether you're building habits like recycling, studying, going to sleep early, stop smoking, and others. The simple way to apply this strategy is to fill in this sentence. I will, and whatever, let's use the fingernail biting. I will, well, that's not a good one. Let me do this. Let me use his examples. I will, and what the behavior is, and then he says at and some kind of time in and a location. So here's some of the examples. Like if somebody wanted to start making a healthy protein smoothie in the morning, right? So what are you going to do? I will, the behavior, make the smoothie. When? I'm going to do it in the morning before I eat breakfast. Where? I'm going to use my new blend jet that I got for Christmas, and
Right.
it's in my pantry. Or da, 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 da. I will stretch. Somebody wants to start stretching. When are you going to do it? I'm going to do it at 8 in the morning. Where am I going to do it? In my bedroom after I get up or after I shower, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a suggestion.
Now, I did have a listener reach out to me, and when I announced that this was going to be the topic for this week, and they asked this question, and it is related, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's about post holiday blues and how come January, after all the run of holidays are done, like there are those, and I count myself
For
included
sure.
to a little bit mildly, that feel a little bit in a down way, because the holidays are such a joyous and
Yeah.
wonderful time that it's kind of like a letdown when the calendar turns to January. We're like, okay, we
100%.
just had the wonderful vibe of the holidays, and now what? And I'm kind of like that a little bit. So I do see where someone could say, okay, now January's here. This new year, but specifically now the holidays are done. What can I do, or what do I need to do from a self care standpoint to fill that void and to kind of get me over the hump until I kind of can get far enough away from the holidays that it's no longer bringing me down, if that makes sense. So there is certainly value in the
Yeah.
calendar changes, and I've got the post holiday blues. What am I going to do come January to help, you know, figure my way through that for sure? Because
Oh,
like I said, Kathy, I love the holidays, just because all the holidays, the holiday season, then starting with Halloween and going all the way through to New Year's, it gets just like boom, boom, boom. There's just some kind of vibe, some kind of thing going on. That whole 2 months, 2 months period of time, it's just there's just this vibe, this feeling in the air, and I like that. And when
yeah.
that seems to go away, like when I went back to work this past week and had to take my Christmas decorations down in the store, although it wasn't as bad as I thought. There was like, I got done and I looked around. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have that vibe to it anymore. And then there's no more Christmas music on the radio in the store. So
There's
there's that.
anticipation with all of that. Now it's
Yeah.
done, right?
And it seems to go. It seems to. Although when you're older, the time flies regardless.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you're younger, it seems to take forever to get to the holiday season, and once the season gets here, it flies by. So then you're like, you kind of like on this high for a while, then you just like you crash like a sugar high, but a holiday high, and then you just crash come after the new year. And part of that is because so many people take vacations, like myself. Whether you're school age and you get a while off or whatever, and then you're off, your time off is done. So there's that down from that, aside from the holiday vibe. So
No, that's a real thing.
yeah,
January is a really hard time for people. I work in the mental health space, and definitely it's a hard time for people for the exact things that you just said. But um but I found something today. I found something today that may be helpful. So I'm going to come back around, but I do want to say this. For me personally, this is my least favorite season. This, well, January to March time. Of the year. It's. I mean, obviously, I'm a grateful person. I'm grateful to be here every day, but this is my least favorite season. So, but I've had to look at things in 3 month increments. Well, because, and not that I want to rush life, but it rushes anyway. Rather, I want to rush it or not. So I embrace the rush, right? So the holiday months, we got those. You and I probably think very similar about the
yeah,
holiday months. There's a lot of anticipation. There's stuff going on. We enjoy the hustle bustle. I like going and complaining that Halloween decorations are early, or that Christmas stuff is out in September, whatever. Um, the whole thing. I like it all. And then the summer months are great. The spring months, because I love warm weather and new growth and things like that. So I come to a screeching at this time of year. So I have to personally work hard on this season.
yeah,
Some people use the lights. You can buy the lighting that you can put by your desk, even if you're at work, and can give you more of that. I guess because we have less vitamin D coming in, but the light therapy is a lot of people find helpful too. But anyway, I thought this was interesting. This could be something people could do for the post holiday blues, I guess. So did you know, and I didn't, did you know that January is National Hobby Month?
I did not know that.
So apparently I missed this. I
It
know
kind of
there's a
makes
lot.
sense though with the resolutions. Yeah,
Yeah. So um and it apparently started in the early 2000s, and I don't know why I'm just hearing about it, but since January is a time to turn a new leaf, Everything has come to a halt after holidays. So the idea is, what are we going to look at in our life um, for hobbies? And then hobbies go back to the year 1676. That's wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know, by a guy named Sir Matthew Hale. He
Huh.
coined hobbies. Anyway, then I started thinking, well, hobbies that'd be a good exercise for people to do, is kind of sit down and think about things that make them feel better. And this is self-care. I would never have called a hobby. I mean, I would have called hobby self-care, but I don't know. I just really thought about it when I thought about this national month. So here's some examples that I quickly came up with. There's people that like, and you can have an old hobby that you stopped that you
Mm-hmm.
can bring back to life,
Yep.
or you can start a new hobby. But reading, our kids are gamers, my kids. Some people knit or crochet. Crafters, like I have this new Cricut machine that I've enjoyed. Some people like sports, swimming, walking, hunting. There's the drawing, mosaic, pottery people. Some people like to collect things, put puzzles together, go to the movies, right? Singing, clubs, musical instruments. I mean, there's a bird watching. There's a gazillion things to do. And what we know about hobbies is the same thing about self care, and it is a form of self care. Reduces stress, can connect you to other people, give you a sense of purpose and accomplishment. So I would say, think about it. Think about hobbies. Think about something that you like, that you enjoy.
Yep.
Even working out could be a hobby.
Yep. Or go outside of your comfort zone and maybe try something new that you've not do it with a friend, and
Yeah.
you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. You can double dip and catch up with a
Mm-hmm.
friend and go do pottery or an art class or any number of things.
Because there's so many things out there that people have to offer, in local towns and cities or whatever, whether it's the painting or the board the board places where you go and make signs and
Mm-hmm.
mosaics. And,
Well, it's interesting, Kathy. Back a few years back, a few months back, when the idea of having the summer self care and wellness expo came to my mind, and you know how my mind works. When something comes to my mind, I'm right on it right then.
yeah,
But I intentionally held it off as far as starting to plan everything until after the holidays, because
yeah,
I know that there's that lull for me, that little bit of a dip in my headspace there in January.
it's a
Um,
good. So that's smart.
so I was like, okay, I'm gonna, because it's just gonna be a lot to it. So it's gonna kind of, not just in January, but it'll be from here till we finalize things and actually have the event. I'll be working on that. But as you were talking about January being National Hobby Day, do you find that here recently, and I hear this, I listen to 105.7 The Fan every morning when
Mhm.
I'm going to work, whatever, because it's a sports talk show. But they always talk about like what day it is. Like it could be today is Chocolate Brownie Day, or tomorrow
Right.
is National Pick a Rose Day, or there's
Right.
every day has, and I think that's true with months. Like every month it could,
Yeah.
but in a month could have like a dozen
Yes.
different things that month is. Like you're saying, January is National Hobby Day. There's probably 10 other things that January is also National dot 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 day also. And
Right.
I find that interesting that that seems to be a fairly new thing. I mean, I don't know whether it's with the internet, so Google so
It's probably the
readily,
internet.
everybody wants to, what's something to do in January, so they have this list of, well, January's National Hobby Day, or February is National Groom Your Dog Month, or it seems like the most random stuff, but there's every day has a thing and every month has a thing.
One sometimes it's stressful because I'm like, great, I missed National Sons Day or whatever, and I'm like, I didn't, I always miss stuff, or it's
Now,
Secretary's Day or whatever, and
but when you hear that, do you feel like I'm supposed to? Do you feel like a responsibility to participate in whatever that month is?
I
I do
don't,
not at all. It
I do
doesn't. It
not,
doesn't. It
but
goes to one ear and out the other.
I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes get caught up in the social media hype, and I'm like, great, everybody's posting of their children, and I
Right.
didn't post my children, but my children probably don't even care. But I don't know. I will drive myself crazy if I tried to address every month, holiday, day, whatever,
And why is National Daughters Day and National Sons Day? They're like 2 days apart.
2 days apart. And then I'm like, when did this become a thing? I don't know. Anyway,
And I mean, there's been Mother's Day and Father's Day forever, probably
yeah.
as far back as we can remember. Um, I don't know. It's just unless they come up with a thing that says, "Okay, this is National Self Care Month." I'll pay
There
attention
probably
to that one.
is. There probably is one.
Yeah, and maybe I'll have to look that up and say what month is
Wait, I'm gonna
National.
look it up right now. You know
Uh,
there is one. You know there is one. A national, what are we saying? Self care month?
Yep.
I think there is, Jay. Here we go. My internet is slow. September. Yeah.
Well, isn't September? Wait a minute. September's also
It's also
Mental Health Awareness or Suicide Prevention Month. One of those two.
both.
Okay.
Well, wait, hold on. No. It's
One's
suicide.
October. Yeah.
It's suicide prevention. It's substance abuse awareness. October is mental health awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
September's National Self Care Awareness Month.
We'll have to have an episode in September to commemorate September being
There you go.
National Self Care Awareness Month.
We made it.
That's interesting.
Now we know. Now we know.
Things we discover on a snow day.
Wait, we've learned National Self Care and what else?
National Hobby Month.
National Hobby Month, and then and the underground steam system
Yes.
of the green tundra or whatever.
Hey, we need
What
to
was
have
it?
more,
The what tundra?
What's that?
What'd you call it? The green tundra?
The
what?
frozen tundra of Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the football field.
Oh, so I combined green and tundra. Okay.
Well, yeah, you were kind of there. Yeah.
I'm still going to call it the green tundra.
So yeah, you can actually, even though we're not in school because it's a snow day, we can actually learn on a snow day.
We can learn. Yeah, we're learning.
So yeah, if you guys, and look, if you've decided that because the calendar changed that you want to improve some
fresh.
Yeah, I'm not knocking you. I wish that you are the 8% of people that follow through and are successful. That's what I wish for everybody.
And I wish that everyone would break it down more so that you could be successful.
Yes.
Break it down into smaller things and
journal your progress and some way to kind of make yourself accountable and to keep track and
document it.
You can go back and look and say, well, last week I only could do this many steps at the gym on the treadmill, and this week I was able to go for 5 minutes more, and you can see that it's working, and you're more likely to stick to it at that point.
Think about yourself like you do work. I know I work in the nonprofit space, so there's plenty of times where we have to reflect back and write, what have we accomplished this year, or we did this, we did that, we embarked on this. But do that in your own life, right? Be able to what are some of the small things, and I mean really they could be big things, but break it down smaller steps that you want for yourself. And it doesn't have to be done by December 2025. It could there's no time frame on things.
Just be trying to improve whatever that thing is.
Yeah. Purposeful.
And track your progress. And I know when I used to train folks, I would get, like all trainers do, I get somebody that would come in and say, I'm going to a class reunion or I'm going to a wedding and I need to fit in this dress. I need to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 months or whatever.
Right.
And that's all fine and good. But I would tell them, I'm like, look, if you want to go do a boot camp style thing for a month, I can do that. But for you to move forward after you and I are done and incorporate what I teach you as a lifestyle change down the road, we need to do baby steps along the way. And and like you said earlier, don't try to have this big grand resolution. Map out the step. You can have a goal that's a ways away. That's fine, but break it down into sub goals and and say, okay, I need to get to Z, but I need to start at letter A, and then go and make each step along the way be a goal towards it, and don't don't make the end thing be your goal. Make the steps along the way be the goals.
And you got to find what works for you, like what works for you in your habits. What locations do you need? What time of the day? You need to really look back and grab the low
Yeah,
hanging fruit. That's saying, what's easy, what can you do, what can you pair together, like every morning. I think I said this before. I brush my teeth and I do calf raises.
yeah,
And it's a habit now. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it. I got the motion going with the calves and the teeth.
You're double dipping.
Double dipping. Yeah, but for some reason I don't do it at night. I just do it in the morning when I brush
Yeah.
my teeth.
Huh.
It's weird, I know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, make resolutions. Do them for the right reasons.
And do check-ins.
Yeah,
Check
plan
in
them
with
out.
yourself.
Journal it, and do it with a partner. If you've got a friend or a family member that might have the same goal, do it together. You can keep each other accountable. It'll be less stressful. You can make it more fun. Um, there's ways to go about it, whether it's January, whether it's June, whatever. We talked
And
about this.
journaling does
Yeah.
not have to be some fancy
No.
book that you get. It could just be your regular loose leaf notebook that you just write
Yep.
in.
And just write down, okay, today I joined the gym. Today I became a member of a gym. That could be your progress for that day. The next day could be I went in and learned what the machines. I mean, take
Excuse
all the
me.
victories along the way, because there's going to be every goal takes steps to get there.
And if you're like me, the goal is too big if it's the gym. Like maybe you're watching a
Celebrate
YouTube.
the steps. Don't just celebrate if you get to your end goal, but celebrate each step getting there, because that's what it's all. You'll If you reach your goal, you're going to look back about the work you put into getting there. That's going to be more meaningful than the actual goal itself. I know it sounds silly because you've made this goal that's your thing. There's got to be a target. It's a target,
Well,
but it's the
yeah.
time and effort and what you learned about yourself along the way in getting there that you can now take with you moving forward to your next resolution.
And most things too aren't one and done. Like if
No,
you have a goal that you want to run a marathon or whatever you're doing, half marathon, like that's really what's behind that. It's like you want to stay in shape or you want to keep active. You don't
right.
want to just train, do that, stop. Like again, it's how do you create habits,
Yeah,
healthy habits for yourself. I mean, I'll give you another example. For me, I do need to fit into a wedding, a mom's wedding dress in June. So, I could have said, and I've done this plenty of times in my life, I'm not worried about wait till after the holidays. So I kind of did it in reverse. I said, let me see if I can take October through December when there's plenty of foods and lots of appetizer foods going around and maintain the same weight. And I did do that. And I was proud of the, small choices that I made or saying no to certain things that I normally would be like, let me go all in on this crab dip, and yeah, so now I got through the holidays and now I'll tweak that goal a little differently.
yeah. So before we get out of here, a couple things. The first thing I want to touch real quick on what I mentioned earlier about the this summer. I'm just calling it a self care wellness expo at this time informally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening, you're out there, and you are someone who is a teacher or a clinician or anybody who works in the self care and wellness realm and feel like literally anything, um, you can go on the Eat Your Short Talk group page and kind of look. And I've kind of listed a lot of what I thought fits into this big umbrella. There's plenty more that I didn't mention. Um,
Yeah.
if you're interested in either being a vendor or doing a demonstration or helping with planning, or if you've got a venue, please reach out to me at easternshorttalk@gmail.com. And I will also be sending out some emails to our subscribers on the website to just kind of let them know, hey, this is what this right now. It's literally at the very beginning planning stages. Um, we're just getting feelers to see what kind of interest there is. I've gotten so much good, positive feedback and interest from people all over Maryland, really, that want to participate. Yeah, so if you're or interested in any way, shape, or form, please reach out. And then, yeah, we'd love to have any of you. Um, so before we get out of here, Cathy, we want to do what have we been watching lately? And I'll let you start off because you finally started watching something that
Yeah.
I've been telling you to watch since the podcast started. So
Yes, Jay. I'm always slow, but I get there eventually. So Jay had, now I got more downtime. I wanted to get back into streaming, so I picked up Only Murders in the Building, and Marty and I are on season 2, episode 2. So
okay.
we've done one season, and Jay said, "Hang in there." At first, like just hang in there. So the first 2-3 episodes, I'm like, okay, and then by the time I was done the first, I was like, I'm in now, and I've connected to the character. That's like anything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's a real fun series, and I guess there's 4 seasons right now, and you said that there will be a 5th, but
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I know there's a lot of you out there, including Jay, that's like a murder mystery cop CSI kind of people. I'm not that serious when it comes to, like, I don't want to think that hard. So I like this because it adds some humor to it, and it's not that, I mean, obviously it's so fictional, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
But it's light
Yeah.
enough for me, and I like it. And yeah, it's a good show. I mean, there's a lot of F-bombs, so I don't know if I'd watch it with your 5-year-old, but it's funny. Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez as the exec producers and the main actors. It's
Yeah.
good.
And what's cool is the title "Only Murders in the Building" is the name of their podcast, number one. And when they get together as this very unlikely group of 3 to form this investigative team and podcast makers,
Land.
they decide, okay, we're only going to talk about and investigate murders that happen in our building, as if that's just this is common
Yeah,
thing that this building
like
has
that's
all these
normal.
murders. Well, come to find out, they do. It's so cool, and
It's a good
when
show.
I was late getting to it as well. It was very popular even before I started watching it, and I thought, I don't know if I like the combination of comedy and murder mystery. I like them separately. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm like, well, let me give it a shot. And it's light comedy. It's not in your face comedy. It's very kind of, the characters are kind of light and just how the characters are. They're not trying to be funny. They just happen to be funny people in general. And like Cathy said, the murder mystery side is light and kind of comedic, but both those aspects do not overwhelm the other. So there's a good
Right.
balance between the two, and you can see, like season 1, Sting shows up, and Tina Fey is there, and Nathan Lane, and some and obviously the main characters. But as each season goes along, like more and more big time stars show up. I mean, I won't give
And I
anything away.
forgot how much I liked Steve Martin and Martin Short. They're so funny together.
I am a more of a Steve Martin fan than I am a Martin Short, because I find Martin Short, and even his character here, is a little bit over the top. Steve
Yeah,
Martin's a little bit more subtle in his like
that's true.
night, yeah. But yet it works because he's not like super over the top. And I think the Selena Gomez character, because she's so like even
Grounded.
keeled and calm, she evens out his manic kind of,
Right.
you know what I mean? And of course,
He's
Steve
got the
Martin,
vision. Martin Short has the vision.
yeah,
Steve Martin is more pessimistic about
Steve
things.
Martin's kind of like the innocent, like he's very, even for his age, he's very like naive, and there's things he doesn't understand about the world, and like,
Yeah.
they've kind of got different kinds of characters covered with these 3 main characters, and to have this, younger person in Selena Gomez on the show become friends with these 2 older gentlemen that live in this building, and
It's cute.
yeah, and at first she's like so annoyed with the 2 of them. She's like they get on the elevator with her. She's like, oh gosh, here we go again. But they grow on her like so quickly, And yeah, the whole, I
Friendship's
think
so cute.
they find common ground and okay, we're going to solve this murder. But only the murders in the building. We're not going to investigate any other ones. Only all the murders in our building we're going to investigate. So yeah, it's really enjoyable. Um, so who has anybody new showed up so far in season two? I'm trying to think back.
Yeah.
Who showed up so far?
Amy Schumer.
Yep. She buys Sting's condo. She buys his
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember if Paul Rudd shows up. I think he's put season two. He becomes significant. Yeah.
I
And,
know. And the streaming thing's hard because you want to watch, like, it's hard to know when to stop.
and they do a good job of each season there's a new murder. And the like with you, the last season of episode one introduced the murder
Right.
that they would investigate in season two. They do
Yeah.
that each season. And I have to say, I was not surprised by who got murdered in season two. That character was not a beloved character at all, so that one didn't surprise me. I was surprised at who gets murdered in season four. I was like, what? This person, although not really full time, is a significant cast member. And I was like, whoa! But they, she, the actress is not going because they keep doing flashbacks to her, so she's still there. I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some really good stuff. They really kind of broaden it and like really, yeah,
After I'm done, we'll have to chat.
yeah. And then Friday, I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not see the first two. It was the only movie at the
Only
theaters
thing
in Easton that I had not seen yet. So I'm like, well, I don't really have a choice. Either I watch this one or I don't go, and I can't not go. So
Did you ever have a week where there's nothing new? You've seen them all?
I can't remember. Well, there has been, but luckily Top Gun was still playing, so I went back and watched Top Gun multiple times, and I did that when Avengers was playing too. I went back and watched Infinity War twice. I actually went back and Infinity War, A Man Called Otto, and Top Gun Maverick are the only three that I've gone back to the theater multiple times. Top Gun Maverick, I went 4 times total to the theaters and watched. Best sequel ever. A Man Called Otto, one of my biggest pleasant surprises ever, like ever in movies. Fantastic. It's heavy.
I saw it.
It's really heavy, but it's so there's some
So-
really good redeeming stuff in it too. That yeah.
Do you have anything next week?
I don't know. There are some that I've seen previews that I like and will go see. Like the first couple months, like new movies just in general.
Is this a slow time?
Yeah, I think March is kind of like when it starts to pick back up again. I'll still go for sure, even if I've got to watch something multiple times. I'll do that. But yeah, streaming will be heavy for me, even more so than normal over the next couple months.
Great. You'll give me another list that I can't complete until 2026.
I did see a preview for a movie called The Amateur with Rami Malek, who played Freddie Mercury. He plays a character that looks pretty good. It's like a spy thriller kind of. That looked actually pretty good. I think that's relatively soon.
Gosh, I guess that our local theater did well though through the holiday season.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I guess this becomes a slow time for them, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I said. I go on sites and see each month what the premiering movies are, and there's normally maybe 10 or 12 each month. January and February, there's like 2 or 3.
Oh wow!
It's just a slow movie because
people are home. People are whatever.
They've spent their money. They don't have any more. They don't have the money. If you got a big family, it can be expensive. So, although on one hand, you would think that movies could do better in January or February because there's nothing else. There's no outdoor. Depending on where you live, there's less outdoor things to do. So, But again, that's the whole streaming thing is kind of you can sit at home and do that.
People's habits are not to go to the theater in
Yeah.
January,
So
February timeframe.
yeah. So I'm trying to think of what I've been watching. There are some new things coming out in January on Netflix. There's a Hallmark show called The Way Home, and it's not like any other Hallmark show. It's just a regular show. It's not a Christmas
Mm-hmm.
show. It's called The Way Home, and they've had 2 seasons, and it's completely different than anything else on Hallmark. It's called The Way
Huh.
Home, and Andy McDowell plays one of the lead characters, and
Wait, the old St. Elmo's Fire girlfriend that what's his name like?
yeah,
Right, the neighbor.
she plays the grandmother in this.
What was her name in St. Elmo's Fire? That's gonna
I
bug
don't
me.
remember the character's name in the St. Elmo's Fire at all.
I totally
She
didn't
was
remember.
she was the one that they had a crush on. They didn't really get together. She was and the other girl was jealous because she's like, I'm right here. I've been right here in front of you all along. Why don't you like me instead?
No, I need to know her name right
But yeah, so it's called The Way Home, Cathy, and there's time travel involved, and it's got more depth to it and more like I call it meat on the bones with a story about this broken family, broken relationships
now. I got
between
it.
mother and daughter, and
Ready? Dale Bieberman.
okay. So they just started season 3 this past weekend, and it's really good because it's so different than
Oh,
anything else you'd see on Walmart at all.
you know what we're gonna have coming up is American Idol in February, right?
Yes,
I think it's February.
yeah. I was
Can
thinking
we,
of The Bachelor because The Bachelor is this month.
is it?
Yeah, I'm kind of hit or miss. It depends, but yeah, Idol's February, I think. Um, the
What?
MCU. The new Captain America with
Oh,
Harrison Ford as
well,
the president.
okay.
It comes out March, I think.
Is that Netflix? No.
No, it's in theaters.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah, yep.
Why did I think that was streaming?
Uh-uh. No.
So was there a streaming series with him as Captain America?
Yes, it was Falcon and Winter Soldier. Him and Bucky were together.
And then Bucky, right?
And they fought the bad Captain America, the guy that the government hired to be the new, military guy that tried to be the new Captain America.
Okay, so this is I didn't realize this is a movie. Okay.
Yep, it's a movie. It's called Captain America. I can't remember. It's got a Captain America something. Um, Harrison Ford plays the president. Of course, the
When's that
same
coming out?
March.
I didn't realize that was a movie theater thing.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna. What is the new Captain America movie called? Brave New World.
Okay.
And
Well,
apparently,
we'll definitely have to be to that.
yeah,
I'll definitely have to be the Marvel.
apparently, the character that Harrison Ford plays turns into the red version of the Hulk. Because in the comic
What?
books, there's different color Hulks that represent different things.
Okay, I've
And
learned another thing today.
He turns into that and becomes part of Thunderbolts, which is kind of like the anti Avengers, kind of sort of.
I learned something else today.
Yeah.
This is the learning podcast. The snow day.
Yep.
Interesting. The Red Hawk.
Snow time like the present to learn.
No time like snow time.
So yep, I'll be streaming, and hopefully I'm curious now what's playing in our local theater here this Friday. Tuesday's when they release the new
Okay.
film, so I'll know tomorrow. I know they've been showing that previews of that movie called Wolfman, where it's a family and the husband turns into a wolf man. I don't want to have to watch that one if I don't have to, because it's not those kind of stories don't like grab me. I'm not a big like horror movie kind of not because I'm worried about being scared. I don't the stories are not very deep. It's
They scare me. I don't like them.
and I don't like being startled, something jumping out all the time.
I don't either.
So because
Well,
I'm always
we're too old for
anticipating
that,
that.
Jeff.
Yeah,
We don't
I
need to
can't.
be
I've
startled.
got enough anxiety going on. I don't need to be worried about that too. All right, guys. So that's been our early snow day episode 44 of Easter Short Talk. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Take care, guys.